Hello guys, welcome to Polytopia. Hope you are doing great. Today we have an epic meeting with Polytopia LUXIDOOR POLYSSEUM. My name is Adam, aka MijiTube or Gato Azul on Polychamps. And with me today, as always, fantastic guests, both very experienced players, multiple champions in different formats, and great friends of all the Polytopia tribes, Cloudglidder and YetiPeaks. Welcome to the stream, guys.
Hi.
Hi, Cloud.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Well, thanks for having us.
How are you doing today? Excited about the Polyseum matches we are going to see?
Yeah, for sure. Luxidor is one of the more interesting tribes for the regular tribes, I feel like, just because, they start with a level 2 capital. So their playstyle is a little bit more diverse than some of the other tribes, with the option of doing like turn 1 riders, opening with just 2 warriors, maybe even 3 warriors. And that's something we're going to see in today's games.
Yeah, even the fact that it's very strange, the fact that they start with 2 animals, 2 guaranteed animals, but they can't upgrade with animals instantly because they already have a level 2.
Yeah, we have to mention that so Luxidor is the special tribe in this sense that they get their capital upgraded from the beginning, right? This is their kind of special power that they have. Okay, so we kind of touched on how Luxidor, how do they work, but maybe let's make a deeper dive. So what's their strong points, weak points, kind of strategy? How do you play them? Do you actually enjoy playing Luxidor when you have the chance?
Yeah, I really like playing them in general because I think it's a very good tribe for early expansion. Going triple warriors is one of my favorite openings. And I noticed that if you get a lot of forest, you can get markets, some very powerful markets around turn 12, and they are really powerful when played in that way.
Yeah, I also really like the tribe. I feel like they're one of the tribes with more a more diverse set of resources. Most of the time, you are going to be going math, but I feel like depending on how your resource generation is, it's also possible to be kind of going into. It's also possible to going with farms and construction, and I kind of like tribes with like kind of like that where you can have the option of going multiple resource paths and kind of employing like a slightly different strategy. So yeah, I like the varied openings as well as the varied tech paths. Makes for a very interesting tribe.
And what about their weak points? So if you want to fight them and be successful, what you should do?
Well, they are a very slow tribe. And they are very slow in eco generally, especially on smaller maps. Because on smaller maps, you want to take like an explorer on your C2, but their capital doesn't have a workshop. So while most of the cities, most of the tribes, when they take an explorer on C2, have like 6 stars per turn, Luxidor ends up with having only 5. And 5 with 2 cities is very, very bad.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely not having the capital workshop hurts a lot. I remember a long time ago, Luxidor used to start with the capital workshop, but then it got nerfed because it was,
Yeah.
That extra 2 stars per turn was too much, too powerful. I also feel like the varied resources sometimes come like, it's like nice to see that there's different tech paths, different options, but with resources being so varied, sometimes you need to go multiple of these like lower level techs in order to be able to upgrade your city, especially with like sometimes Luxidor at the moment only has 2 guaranteed animals. You might need like hunting and org or hunting and forestry in order to just be able to upgrade your capital, which can lead to some slower, eco take longer to get going. But that's going to change in the beta. I think the beta now has, I believe, 3 fruit guaranteed in capital. So I'm excited to see how
changes are coming
moving forward.
Yeah, actually, if you want to try out the new beta, it's the link is in the description. So go ahead and try it out. It's available for now only on Steam. So maybe the mobile players will have also that option in the coming days, but I'm not sure about that. And where would you put so like not taking the beta changes into consideration yet because it's like still beta? Where would you put Luxidor on a tier list? Are they strong? Are they weak? Maybe somewhere in the middle.
Well, I think they are kind of weak, but I like playing them even for this reason. They put you in a bit of a disadvantage when playing a random game. So you have to play at your best if you actually want to win the games. So probably, I don't know, maybe a C tier tribe.
Right. Cloud, do you agree?
Yeah, I think I kind of agree, but my favorite tribe is Jinji, and well, in this version of the game, Jinji is probably one of the slowest tribes to kind of get going, and I think perfectly played, Luxidor should still be able to outmaneuver Shin. So if I can win games with Shin, anything is possible with Luxidor.
Okay. And one last question, because I'll be setting a poll. Which one is your favorite, the traditional Luxidor or the brutal and merciless Omax mercenaries?
Oh, I really like the Almux skin. It's really cool.
Yeah, me too.
Okay,
Me too.
Let's see what our audience says. So far, I think none of the skins won. Maybe, or maybe Chapeau won last time. So I don't remember really, but usually
the
gold skins
and like the gold background. I remember even like the battleships are completely golden.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
crazy change.
Yeah, they look so cool.
I really like the terrain with all these the little sparkles.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into the games. So Cloud, could you add your screen to the stream? Today we have 3 games for you from the Polysseum. So let's watch them now.
Alrighty, can you guys see my screen?
I'm adding your screen.
Yes.
Let me switch to. Yep.
Alrighty, okay. So this is a game between Forlog and Kamarel. And let's kind of first take a look at spawns. So Yeti, do you want to kind of share what your thoughts are on the spawn?
Okay, my general thought when I first saw the game was that the player in the north, Kamarel, is kind of getting lagged by, pretty much because he only has access to 2 cities and maybe the one in the east. And so he kind of have to play more eco and try to push his opponent with giants. That was my first thought. While his opponent has to try to hold until he can actually make a push and push back his opponent.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like when you just kind of look at spawn, you see that this player has, these two cities that they can kind of get, and the city in the water that they can maybe get eventually. They do have like earlier water access if they get this city, just compared to, well, they're more likely to go into the water earlier just due to this coastal city, as opposed to their opponents. Like their first city only has 2 tiles of water access, and eventually when they get this one, they'll get a couple more. Yeah. But I also feel like the way this is set up, it really seems like it's going to be going like one player has naval superiority while the other has land control. What are your thoughts about that? How do those games tend to play out?
Yeah, usually it happens in this way, that one player goes for naval and the other more for land approach. And I have seen lots of times, I am not saying that it happened in this game, but usually a land attack is more effective than a water attack. Like a water attack can easily be defended. If you can defend the land, you can simply win because your opponent can't disembark his troops or make a push strong enough. While on land, it's much easier to break through.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But I also feel like with battles like these, when it's like land versus water, for the player with the naval control, the longer the game goes on, the more it tends to kind of shift into their advantage, just because taking naval control means that you can set up like units outside of the range of the land player, right? Like if I can like set up a bunch of bombers, I can kind of set up like a really impenetrable defense line. But bombers are something that take a really long time to get going. And when you're down cities, you don't really want to be playing the long game because your opponent's probably making more stars than you, and the eco advantage kind of just builds and snowballs. So I feel like the player that has lake control here, or most likely will get lake control here, really has to balance a fine line between waiting long enough to have like a strong enough navy to support his attack, but also not waiting too long to the point that the purple player builds up too much of an eco advantage with just having more cities.
Yes.
But yeah,
absolutely. Another thing that we didn't say is that Kamarel has 3 ruins, two ruins for the host.
Yeah, so this
he's down in cities, but he has more ruins.
So this could be kind of his chance with those ruins, because he's on a disadvantage as it comes to the cities.
Now let's see how these players open their game. Okay, so both start out with the warrior. Oh wow, and looking at these resources, this player can really do like a pretty fast giant rush. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 population in animals and forests, and if they either get the lighthouse, that can be their 11th, or they can get a fruit.
I mean, they don't need 11 either. They only need 9.
Oh, you're correct. I'm so used to the magic number being 11. But yeah, they have a giant with literally just hunting and forestry.
Yeah.
Both players here opening with triple warriors. One of them actually goes back immediately for the lighthouse. And so with that, they can get their capital upgrade with either hunting or forestry. Or sorry, with either hunting or organization.
Yes, and I think that it's a move that the non-host player did wrong, because on turn 2, he moved his third warrior forward. If you go back to turn 2, for non-host. Yeah, he moved his third warrior like on the side, and I think that was kind of a misplay, because on the side he's not gonna find anything, where he can move his warrior back for the lighthouse and try to get a faster giant, because there aren't any village neither in the east or in the west of his capital, not anymore at least.
Yeah, it could be, but I also feel like he might just be shaping, like clearing the fog, so that if he wants to get an explorer, it can, not go backwards. Or maybe he just wants to support and kind of expand this way. But yeah, going for lighthouse is definitely an option. It's just that this mountain is in the way.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
By like 2
because
turns.
his opponent has a really easy access. He had a really easy access to his lighthouse.
Yeah, his opponent
That's-
only has
that's
to
one
move
step.
1 tile, whereas he has to move 1, 2, 3 tiles before he can get that lighthouse.
I mean, that's usually
Yeah.
worth it because our ruin usually spawn there in the back. It's not guaranteed, but usually it happens.
Yeah, ruins definitely bring exploring around the edges an advantage. Now we see he takes a workshop in his first city, and of course, the player with 5 animals goes hunting. Shocker. So both players opening with workshops here. Normally with more open maps like Drylands, you see them taking Explore to really get a lay of the land and start like readying their expansion or how to attack. But on lakes where you don't know if you're even connected to your opponent, you don't know where the water is, you really want the eco to be able to prepare for either a naval battle or to go rider roads and just be prepared for anything that the map throws your way.
Yes.
And we see here that they're immediately going into fishing. They see this water, they see the deep ocean, and they're guessing that there's a lot of water. And this is also the only way to upgrade the city. You know, the only resources they have 2 of are fish.
Yeah, it's very common for LUXIDOOR to have resources like this.
Whereas we see our host player here is spamming out riders. They already have 3 riders on turn 5.
I mean, it seems a more than good option for him because from the vision that he has on this turn, we can already see that he has a lot of lands. So riders is probably going to be a very good option, maybe for markets in the future too.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, with now like markets being in the riders branch, going riders tends to be like a really rewarding tech. Even if you can't like expand super efficiently with them, if you eventually go markets, they tend to pay out really well.
Yes.
And another workshop, we can really see the players are trying to set up their eco as much as possible. And our home player goes fishing too now.
Yeah, because either way he can't upgrade the city, and he wants an explorer over there.
Yep. Here's the first explorer of the game. Gives him great vision on his opponent. Sees basically everything except for this one city over here. And again, they just keep ecoing up. Oh, our away player here goes climbing.
I think it was a very important play.
For them to step on this ruin, and it is. So he steps on it, and it reveals the other 2 ruins. So now they see 3 ruins. They're on one of them. Hopefully these rooms will give them something good. Both players go climbing now.
I mean, climbing is very important to cross the land bridge. And here we see this explorer that is very important because now that he has vision on the east, he can actually plan to kick his opponent off the village.
Yeah, with a couple roads or even a bridge, he can contest this village.
Yes.
And his opponent doesn't know that yet. His opponent does not have vision.
Because he went for workshop only, so he has no idea.
Oh, meditation.
I mean, like in Lakes map, meditation, I think it's a very good tech because you can easily get into, philosophy.
Yeah, well, we see now our player gets meeting stars on this turn, and he buys forestry, does a little bit of chopping. He's too short, chops, gets that giant, places his monument, and now his eco is very strong, making 13 stars per turn on turn 8.
What did they get from this ruin in the west?
He still didn't take it.
Oh, he just stepped on it this turn.
Yeah, he'll take it next turn.
Oh, okay, sure. Mm-hmm.
Our other player gets a star ruin and a veteran swordsman. Honestly, if these were flipped, I'd be even happier, but that allows for this play. I also think there was also a play if okay, maybe he wouldn't have been able to afford it. Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to afford it if he didn't take this ruin.
Yes.
But yeah, the ruin let him go really comfortably into roads. Oh, and a math ruin for our other player here. This is actually really helpful because he can get another giant in like capital and C2 using math and some other text, maybe like org.
And here his opponent
already.
Yeah, his opponent can actually feel the pressure of 2 giants coming at his door.
Cloud, could you zoom in a bit?
We can see the bridge here. But yeah, they are going to be able to comfortably snipe this village with no other units in range. This village is just gone.
Yes, and you were talking about cloaks, and yeah, here cloaks seems like a very good option.
Yeah, when you're on a low number of cities, but they're all very high level, a cloak can be very devastating. And we see our opponent here, our salmon pink player here actually forgot to chop this forest. Oh no, sorry, it's their turn right now. They're going for an explorer. The sabotage. Okay, that's a good play.
Maybe he wanted to go for the Eye of God.
Well, they get it. They're so close. Oof,
yeah,
one tile
and they miss it by 1 tile.
Yeah.
Here they go for org, get the upgrade.
And they train a catapult.
I mean, his opponent doesn't have an effective way to attack that catapult, so it's a very good play.
Yeah, this is actually a really safe catapult despite how frontline it is. Although this is like the only place you can really attack it from. The giant is zone and controlling here. This city has still been captured, so he has like 1 or 2 turns of being safe before they can really threaten. It's a very aggressive catapult, but it works. Now we have our host player going for forestry himself. Working towards their own giant. You can do it with roads, and we see the Juggernaut going in. And oh my gosh, this catapult position is so nice. It can really pin down this city without being threatened by like anything. Like to really threaten this catapult, you have to be along this line, or maybe this line with the road. But you know, just
but a warrior over there secures the catapult.
Yeah, exactly. Now we see a 3rd giant, so it's now 3 giants to 0, and that eco advantage builds. But our away player here is going to be getting their own giant in no time. Connects with some roads, places a monument, population growth.
And we can see that he has 6 cities, so this means that he can take the Grand Bazaar. And that's going to be his way of giant pushing on the front city.
Yes, exactly. With another monument, he can get the Grand Bazaar. Oh, sorry, with some other connections.
It went backwards.
Yeah, it went back. He probably hoped once again for the Eye of God, but
here our pink player really needed to be a little bit more patient. If he just walked 1 more tile, there would have been a lot higher chance of the explorer going down south.
Yeah, I agree.
Or if he went for navigation, maybe it would have gone this way as well. But unfortunately, he wanted to get that upgrade now rather than later, and it goes backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I would have waited 1 turn. And we can now see that he's sieging with the giant and he's pushing in.
Yeah, now we see a very strong push, but it seems like our opponent here has something up his sleeve. Why is he bouncing this 4 HP rider here? And now all these tiles are blocked. And we have our first Houdini of the game. Blocks every single one of these tiles. And the giant has nowhere to go, and it disappears. So for lakes, I feel like you really have to be very careful around these coastal cities, just because, you know, they're missing tiles that are water tiles instead of land tiles. So the tiles that you have to block to get the Houdini are that much lowered. So it's that much easier to get a Houdini and therefore that much riskier to siege it.
Could you show it again, Cloud?
Yeah, I'll replay it one more time.
So
I think he's trying to block for this.
Could you zoom in, because it's like I think it's still, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like our opponent is trying to block a little bit on this mountain tile to kind of prevent the Houdini, but with this warrior here and this warrior here, our purple player has exactly what he needs to navigate around.
Okay, I had a look in this position, and there was no way for him to prevent the Houdini. So the pink player couldn't prevent the Houdini anyhow in his previous turn, because his 9 HP warrior was going to allow his opponent to get onto that mountain.
Yeah, exactly. The 9 HP warrior.
Do you think this siege was actually a good play, or maybe again he could have waited or like disembarked the giant on the mountain? Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was a huge misplay in this case, because you have a very big advantage, but it's not gonna last if you lose a giant like this. So I don't think it was a good play at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think to just reduce the risk of being Houdini'd, you can just siege with the warrior this turn, land the giant, then next turn you siege with one giant if they haven't popped their giant, while zone of controlling with the other. And if they can't get on this tile, then you'll be okay. So you probably need to leave this city open as well. No, actually, because if they hit from here, they can't bounce here.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you just leave this tile open and leave this tile open, there should be no way for your opponent to bounce onto this mountain, and that protects you from the Houdini.
Yep.
But yeah, once again, the beautiful Houdini play, bouncing onto every possible tile and getting the upgrade with the monument. And poof, that giant is gone. So yeah, riders are also a very important unit for these Houdini plays, because they can do the silly bounces that like warriors and other units can't. But yeah, here we see, even though that giant was just spawned, it takes heavy damage from this catapult as well as some naval units. He's really leveraging his naval advantage to trade positively into his opponent here. 40 HP giant instantly reduced to 3 HP.
Yeah, so another question here, how do you see this play out? Because the traditional Luxidor player doesn't, so like he had access to the shoreline, but now he has 2 monuments and I think just one place to put a port.
I mean, he actually has ports in the southwest.
Yeah, but it's
so
like,
you'll probably access water from there, and maybe if he wants to get some naval presence, if he wants to, he will like place one juggernaut after the other into the water up there. But I don't think that's gonna happen, because his opponent has all those catapults. There is a catapult, and that's more than enough to completely shred a giant in 2 turns.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like trying to get into the water from here is a little bit ambitious with like the setup our pink player has. I think going from like over here, like Yeti said, is a little bit more realistic, and we can see that our opponent actually does not have vision here, so they might not know that there are ports here. Or if there are...
Yeah, no, they actually know, because there is no shoreline.
Yeah, they know, but like they don't know if there's like a port.
Yeah, exactly. They don't know if there is a port. That's true.
Yeah. So I feel like, and I also feel like this is a math or a smithery spot. So I do think that saving this spot is for the best, just for if you need those like couple more giants or the resources for anything.
Yes, I think so too.
Oh, and now we see our pink player also going for riding himself. And this turn, it looks like the purple player really wants this kill. But if you think about it, he could have waited until the giant stepped off the city to kind of go for it.
That was a huge misplay, like a very, very big one. Because in this way, he's sacrificing 8 troops that he could have used to unsiege once the giant sieges the city. And he could have used even less troops. Like in this way, you are simply giving your opponent the gate of power, and you are crippling your army like so much. Like at the end of this turn, if pink sieges, that's an unbreakable siege.
Yeah.
Well, even if it is an unbreakable siege, you don't necessarily need to start attacking the giant this turn yet, right? Because he can.
I mean, probably he was scared of a block. Like the giant, the 31 HP giant goes south, and he blocks all the riders that are in the east.
That's true, but you can also just shift your riders over here right now.
Yes.
And then when it sieges, you only need 6 units to, I believe 6 units to, oh no, this giant will be injured. So it might be more than 6, but you only need 6 or 7 units. And if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders already, and you can train 3 more riders that will be able to. Is this one in range actually?
Yeah, it's way more than enough troops.
No, you can only train 2 more riders, but you have these 2 injured riders, which will be enough to unsiege a giant. But because they really wanted this kill, they spent every single one of their units getting that kill. Now, if this giant sieges, they will no longer be able to unsiege. Interesting play here, going for the kill instead of the siege. I mean,
you can see that his opponent can easily unsiege with the 6 HP and the 10 HP rider. So there is no... it's not a good option to sacrifice a rammer, like 5 stars.
That's true. I was thinking they were going to go in with this Juggernaut as well, so that if maybe they were trying to...
But it was too scared of a Houdini. Like, if you look at...
Yeah, but with that vision, it's like you can be... I think quite sure.
He was really scared of another Houdini, so he simply moved into the mountain.
He was. So he ends up not going into the city. But if you look here, his opponent really needs like mining in order to be able to get that.
I mean, he already has mining.
He already has mining. I see. Okay, yeah. So but he uses it here. Now there's no longer a Houdini. Yep, and he sees that and he goes in for the siege.
I think that on this turn he could have actually made another Houdini. No, that's not true. My bad.
Could you have made another Houdini? Let's see.
I mean, he needs to kill the 10 HP scout too.
So this rider can cover this tile, and these 3 riders can cover these 3 tiles. Yeah, you're correct. He can actually get another Houdini. Oh, no, but he needs to kill this,
right? Exactly. He needs 7 troops, and he only has 6.
Yeah, so he needs to kill the scout in order to get the port access, or he needs to not place this killer monument and use it right here.
He could have, to be honest. Like, he has 4 troops. Like 4 riders in the east, and with those 4 riders, he can kill the rider of the opponent rider and kill the scout, and then block all the other tiles. And that's an he needs to kill the warrior too. Yeah, because it's on a mountain. Yeah, no way of Houdini now that he used the monument. So that was a huge misplay by his part.
Yeah, these 2 units are protecting the scouts, and we really need this tile under the scout to be able to place the port. We do have 4 units that allow us to clear the scout and the rider, but then that leaves this warrior here, and unfortunately we also need that mine. So we are 1 unit short of being able to pull off another Houdini here, which would have been absolutely devastating for the opponent. So instead, we only go for the hit, clear this unit. We do get a veteran though. Oh, that is pretty nice. And we are forced to give up the city, but we train archers to prepare to take it back.
And we see navigation and philosophy on turn 17, because at the start he took meditation, and so it's now time for philosophy. Pre-capture, so the tech cost less. And a very interesting fact is that he went navigation first and then philosophy, because he couldn't do the other way around, because he was 1 star short, exactly 1 star short.
Yeah, you see that philosophy is 13, navigation is also 13. At the time he had...
No, he's actually 16 for philosophy,
Oh, right.
And
Because
11 for navigation.
that's right
So that's
after
27.
Yeah, he's
27
exactly
and he
one
can
star
chop
short. So you needed to not train this warrior here in order
Yes,
to do it
exactly.
in the reverse way. Very unlucky.
Yeah, but he got the starfish, right?
Yes.
Get
Yeah.
the
I mean,
stars.
he spent 5 more stars.
Mhm.
Now he's going for the siege, which is interesting.
I mean, he knows that it's not gonna hold, but he can. I mean, he's weakening his opponent eco.
Yeah, like we said
we have
earlier.
a question, sorry, from Julian, why he did not chop all the forests in the city, which
Because
which
he
was-
already made lumber huts on them, so he can't chop them anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah, in order to be able to chop these forests, you would need to go into chivalry and be able to destroy the buildings first. The only thing you can chop are like empty forests like these. Like if I hover over it, I can see that there's a clear forest option.
Yep.
Before things forests that have lumber huts, you can't do anything else to them without having the destroy building option.
Tech. Mhm.
Yeah, we can see, even though this city was just given up, it's under a lot of pressure already with 3 giants staring it down.
I mean,
But
yes,
these
but the
catapults here are
setup
going to be...
is devastating. Like nothing can pass on that, and he even take a third that get pushed, so he can already get into action on the next turn.
But
So
yeah,
right now,
our opponent here still goes in, but he's, building up some kind of attack here to maybe threaten these catapults. But yeah, the giant is absolutely shredded. It is gone. And we see our first bomber of the game here. So we can really see that, like, the Lakes player or the player with naval control is going to really be able to start trading positively into our opponents here. Having this bomber and just ranged unit, he can just slowly advance his naval advantage, slowly push forward, and if he plays patiently, even though he's... Oh, actually now they're even cities after he took this city, but it looks like the game is really turning in his favor at this point. He is getting a catapult hit here though, so the giant sacrifice wasn't completely for nothing, maybe? So we can really see he's going really heavy into the water here, but what do we see here? Our purple player actually snuck a veteran swordsman onto the water here. Is this maybe something to try to contest pink player's naval control?
that's a not a lot. Like,
but yeah, when you control navy, you really want to be careful how close you encroach and exactly when you encroach. Our pink player here advances the scouts in order to clear out some units here to be able to clear the warrior.
Really wanted to kill that giant.
And also kill
some
the
reason.
giant. But you really have to be considerate whether or not these trades are worth it, because these units cost 7 stars. But
in this case, I think it's worth it. Like in the late game, when you have enough eco to do whatever you want, getting rid of your opponent giants, I think it might be worth even 20 or 30 stars. Because
I agree, but I think
that you can take back the stars, you can take them back. The giants, you won't ever see them again.
I definitely do agree, but I feel like we're not quite at that stage where we want to be making these trades yet, especially considering that this giant isn't, like, it's already a low hit point giant, and we basically traded 14 stars for that giant here. Yeah. Just because these scouts just get picked off and you don't really have much to show for it.
And we see that Ost has 30 stars. Like, he ends the turn with 30 stars, so probably he's planning for something next turn. Either knights or cloaks.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like our purple Luxidor does not really have the setup for markets. Like, the best he can do is like a level 2 here. Maybe if he border growths this, actually, he has a level 1 to 3. If he board growths both of these, he has a level 4 market spot. This is a level 3 at best. There's level 2 in his capital, but his market spots are really suboptimal, especially with this like level 6 forge spot blocked by water. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
So it looks like, yeah, knights or cloaks would probably be his best option here. See another juggernaut landing.
But it's near all those archers, so it's probably going to die very soon.
Yeah. And again, we can see the naval units really getting shredded when they get too close to land, and the archers putting in work, like you said. A healthy giant reduced to almost half health instantly, and we see cloaks coming out. So this is what they were saving up for.
And he decided to not siege the central city anymore, or his giant.
Yeah, he sees the catapults. They're too threatening.
And we can see from peak.
Okay, we have knights.
So he sees cloaks and he goes for knights because he wants to clear all those riders and even the eventual daggers that are going to spawn.
Yeah, and our purple players don't have to start spacing out his units, because if the knight was out already, this would have been an absolutely devastating chain. Actually, I'm not sure if it kills a 13 HP. It does, yeah. So our purple players would have to be a little bit careful with their micro here.
Is there a unit? Is there a unit under this cloud in the middle, or?
There is. Yeah. Every single unit here in together.
Yeah.
Like, this chain would have ended the game.
That would have ended this game really quickly.
But, you know, our purple player has vision, so he knew he was safe.
Okay.
But we also see that this bomber is again starting to encroach a little bit too far, seems like.
Yeah, it's too close to the archers, because archers can use roads and can easily counter bombers.
And that is 17 stars down the drain. That's a very expensive trade here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have purple that spaced the troops and is about to cloak the opponent's cities.
Yep. Here we have our first cloak landing. 4 of them on defense bonus tiles. This is very threatening, but I mean if you have another naval unit
in the fog
shot down.
Yeah,
very interesting decision to hit this particular archer. I would have considered just hitting like either this one or maybe even this one, then having units hit these, so then this rider can chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If this hits 14, maybe 15 units. So this was a really massive chain that was missed because he chose to kill this archer instead of like injuring these defenders or hitting this one instead to kind of get that big splash value. But unfortunately, I'm not sure why he did that actually. He did have vision to see that he could have chained with like if he got a couple scouts.
All the way through.
Yeah.
But we have to remember as well that it is
a live game,
It's a live game, so
another juggernaut hit.
Yep, bomber hit. And we can see here the cloak chain on the central city.
And now we see there's actually 3 daggers spawning on the water because these other tiles are blocked. Maybe that will do something.
That will probably do something. Maybe not now, but in the future, if he can keep on doing that, he could actually threaten all the catapults and bombers.
This is very important. No knight this turn.
Yeah, I wanted to ask if they have knights. But they did. I think they got a bomber or something.
Yeah, they ran out of stars.
And this actually gives us a bunch of space to move.
But yeah, we see no knights this turn. Was really painful because otherwise there was a chain all the way down here.
Yeah.
So many.
Another opportunity to probably win this game.
Now
But
he
again, the
went for
catapults are
markets
putting
instead.
in work. Like every turn, they're just sniping unit after unit. And we see our first market being placed down.
Yeah, and we can see that the purple is even taking some naval control with a few rammers.
Yeah, the negative trades were really slowly starting to get to him, with like him now having a rammer on the water being a little bit threatening. And this turn a dagger survives. Could he maybe start to get in a couple more?
I mean, that's the goal, probably.
Oh, this turn he does not go for the cloak here. Oh, he wants to cloak this city. This
Yeah,
turn,
he has
now
enough
he's setting
cloaks to
two
keep
cloak
on chaining
streams.
over there. And we now see how Pink try to find the opponent cloak, I think. Or at least I do hope so.
He does see the cloak, but unfortunately he does not move to detect it, so the cloak will again hit.
And eating even another city, like 2 cities at the same time, it's going to be very painful.
Our purple player here decides not to actually cloak the city.
He misplaced the 7 HP dagger. Yes, he didn't want that to be over there.
Ah, you're right. I also feel like not cloaking might have worked out in their favor, because had he cloaked, our opponent here actually can definitely have enough to clear out that if they make these all into like rammers or something like that, they definitely have enough to melt this giant and then chain through not only these daggers but also this giant as well as all of these daggers. Although they would be stuck here, but it would definitely be a very easy clear for our pink player. So not cloaking might not have been the worst thing.
Tafini says hi.
Oh, hey Tafini.
Hi Tafini. And we have all the markets placed down. I mean, they are not very high level, but they are something.
I think to maximize the markets, this level 3 should have been over here to make this level 6. Although I guess it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference.
And we see the daggers are really starting to get in and do the damage. It seemed like our pink player had a huge advantage for late game, but it seems like a lot of their poor trades and micro decisions are starting to get to them.
Yes.
Especially with like this, these rammers starting to be pesky and get into the back line. Yeah, they're starting to spam defenders because they're under fire. Another bomber being sniped.
Yeah.
I think that might be the third to be sniped, or maybe fourth.
Yeah, I think that was the third, I believe, and this one's at 5 HP. Like, oof.
And it's another giant, and this one is on the front line. So, well, pink is still looking very strong. But now we start to see knights from purple too. So
yeah, now both players have knights, so we gotta be really, really careful here.
Yeah.
Like a single knight is often enough to turn the game around if you just get like a important enough chain. I think they forgot that this rider hit, like otherwise they'd be able to see.
Yeah. They were hoping for a siege.
Aquatism here to get the defense bonus on the water.
Against the Juggernaut, because he doesn't have a Juggernaut onto the water and he wants to protect himself in that way.
Yep.
And now the cloak is going to land. And we can see a very important strategy by the pink player, that is to block the forest tile on his city. So his opponent won't get defense bonus daggers.
Mm.
Yep. But it seems like purple is really taking control here, having daggers on land threatening the city, dinghies in the water threatening the catapults, and he's making a really big push for this city here. Let's see how this push pans out. And Border Growth, so he now has a lot more water access. Unfortunately, one knight tears through all the daggers, the catapults, clears the dinghies, and this attack, and killing these naval units and weakening the Juggernaut takes the brute force of this attack away. And within just one turn, it looks like Purple's attack has been completely neutralized. Although Pink does lose this giant here.
And we now see a giant chain. No! Oh no! It got stopped over there because it was a veteran.
Yeah.
Now there was no way to reach it, I think. Or what? No, there was surely a way.
If he used one of the riders here to hit this defender, then this warrior could erode it up, I think. Oh no, this warrior was on a mountain. Oh yeah, no, there was no way to actually reach it. If there was, there would have been a killer chain all the way into capital.
And a bad siege that I am not sure that Pink would have been able to unsiege.
Yeah, Pink would not have been able to unsiege that. So yeah, these chains are really scary, guys. And again, he's forgetting that this rider hit hard.
Yeah.
But oh, these dinghies again, getting to survive and hit the catapult.
I mean, he's getting very good use of cloaks.
Yep, he's getting a lot of value from these trades.
And it's already turn 35. That's a long game.
Oh, but
yeah, this is a huge game.
Massive. Clears out.
And yeah, double chain this turn, and seems like Purple is kinda done in this moment because he doesn't have any offense at all now. He lost everything. His offense in the water shattered in the moment that the giant died. But he keeps on playing.
Unfortunately, he does not have enough to kill this defender without using the knight. Seems like he was hoping for it.
I think it's still not decided. He has the economy to get more knights. So.
And we see another giant from Pink.
Yeah, despite Purple being on having 3 markets, Pink having 3 markets, they're only on 34 stars per turn, but Purple has 24. So the 3 markets combined only make 10 stars difference. So that's big, but that's actually being offset by the cloak income. This city is making 6 stars per turn, and if you add 6 to Purple's income, that's 30, and if you subtract 6 from Pink, that's 28. Yeah, so Purple is effectively making 2 more stars per turn.
And his opponent, but he doesn't have philosophy.
That's true. But I mean, at this point, what more text do you need? Like, you have all your naval tags, you have your catapults, you have your knights. I mean, I guess you could go cloaks, but
yes, I mean, he can probably with the eco that he has.
Yeah, and again, we see that Pink missed a knight opportunity here. If he had a knight right now, he would have been able to chain through this entire thing.
We can say that his opponent, like Purple, is playing very well because in the moment that he sees knights, he starts spacing the troops, and when his opponent doesn't have any knight, he can simply play normally. And
yeah, he's really taking full advantage of his vision here, knowing when he needs to space and when he can just chain things together and not be punished.
And now we see a very big misplay by the Pink player that leaves a huge chain.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like everything was going so well. He was taking back complete naval control. Units were dwindling. The cloak chains wasn't hitting as sporadically anymore. There was just this city, and it seemed like he had the game right within his grasps. and he let his guard down, leading to this insane chain all the way into his capital, finally clearing out those annoying catapults that had been pestering him for the entire game, clearing out or injuring this bomber as well, and our opponent here resigns because he can no longer unsiege both this city and his capital.
I mean, I don't think he can unsiege his capital, and that's the game.
Yeah.
In domination.
Yeah, he can't unsiege his capital either. Yeah, that was everything.
No, my.
What a match! 38 turns. Damn.
Yeah. Everything seemed to be going so well for Pink here. Victory seemed right within grasp, which really shows that you cannot let your guard down.
Yeah, and I think the Pink was a bit impatient. It showed a few times in this game. So first with the Explorer, yeah. So I think that if they played like kind of slow and they did not move so many units close to the shorelines, because it was also kind of a waste of money, those bombers that were killed, or even the scouts. So I think the impatience was the main cause of this loss.
Yeah, a lot of people say Polytopia is a very snowbally game. So to kind of like continue on with that analogy, it's a snowball-y game, so if you throw your snowball too early, it's not going to be doing enough damage. We see that multiple times here when he just goes in with like 1 or 2 naval units, goes in too early with the bombers, with the scouts, and he just doesn't trade positively, leads to a lot of units dying. I can't find the exact clips because this game is so long, but there were like 3 bombers that kept getting picked off. But conversely, if you throw your snowball too late, it could kind of get eaten up or rolled over by your opponent's snowball. So you really have to find the perfect timing, be patient, and catch your opponent off guard to deliver that critical strike and snatch your victory, which is exactly what Purple does here.
And also that they missed those two chains because it was one after another.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, beautiful first game here.
Yeah.
Let's go into the second and see what else we have in store for us today. Alrighty.
Okay, so this was Dryland, and maybe put the resources. Okay, like this.
So it looks like blue here has slightly better density with 3 villages within 2 tiles. But purple here has slightly better resources, having a little bit more forests than
his opponent. I mean, we can see that the map is kind of shaped, like the villages are shaped in half, like almost perfectly. So 5 for the purple player and 6 for the blue player.
Yeah, and also on these small maps, how you explore like just one tile's difference can be really important. Like this tile is closer to blue, this city is closer to blue, but if blue chooses to go maybe like here and here, and purple explores here and here, like, you know, who gets these villages can change drastically. So your expansion choice and which resources you chase in these games can be really important.
And if I can say, in this game, we see purple playing a very strange strategy.
Yeah, let's see how they play out. Here they go, turn 0 hunting. This is a strange strategy.
Turn 0 hunting. They don't care about expanding. They simply go for early upgrade in the capital.
Yeah, probably they don't even bother for a turn 0 warrior. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So here employing a more normal strategy, training a turn 0 warrior, going for quick expansion, triple warrior opening versus single warrior opening and a second warrior on turn 2.
Yes. I mean, we can see the blue player going for the lighthouse.
Okay, they meet.
But yeah, very different playstyle compared to Lakes, getting off that early explore to meet your opponent as soon as possible.
And here, since you went for the lighthouse, you can upgrade capital and upgrade the C2 for an explorer because we are on Dryland, but it went backwards.
Yeah, both players going for their explorer in their first city here, but getting drastically different results.
Yes, and
we see purple here immediately taking it to forestry. They really want that capital upgrade. They're playing very aggressively eco-wise.
Yeah, they want the giant as soon as possible, and they want to try and win that way.
Now we see blue finally gets another explorer to meet his opponent. Gets almost perfect vision, and he's spamming out as many units as he can. And he goes into riders, playing really aggressive in terms of expansion and unit training here. And we see perfect blocking from purple. He sees a rider, he sees a unit, but he knows that if he steps on with a 5 HP warrior and kills like so, there's no way for blue to knock him off because there's just no unit that
really wants that ruin because it looks like he's kind of down on space because his opponent already have riders and it's already expanding north while he's expanding in the west very slowly. So he really wants that ruin, maybe to be a swordsman. That will help him a lot. And he is already going for a giant thanks to those 4 animals at the start.
Yep. Unfortunately, it is an explorer ruin. Does not help expansion at all.
Yes, but it actually made the giant on capital cheaper.
Yep.
Only 3 stars.
I like how he placed these lumber huts. If he placed it here, he could have had a level 3 market here if he went to sawmills, and same thing here. This was a level 3 market spot. If there's a sawmill here, he could have placed his. Could have been a little bit more careful with his unit placement. And now we finally see purple going for riders of his own. Unfortunately, he can't train any this turn.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a misplay. Like, you don't need to do that, especially because he had to chop 2 forests that I think they are kind of important if he wants a giant in the central city too.
Yeah, we see 2 very different strategies. We have purple here rushing out the giant and then later on going for riders versus blue here going riders first, trying to expand as quickly as possible before later going for that giant with a pop ruin.
Yeah, it was very lucky.
Was very lucky. Yeah, we can see that blue here now has the city advantage here, being 4 cities to 3. But what do we see here? Purple makes a big road play to kill this warrior and kind of salvage his exploration here. If purple had gotten to capture this village in the back would have... I'm sorry, if blue had been able to take this village in the back would have almost guaranteed been his.
Yes.
So knocking him off or making sure he can't keep this village here is really big for purple's expansion. Another pop ruin.
Yeah, he got some very good points this game. Like, he can get another giant on his capital now.
And that's exactly what he goes for.
I mean, he can already see that if the game goes on for a long time, he has better market spot because his opponent has all those mountains. So he can simply play for the long game, even have 1 more city. And it might not seem too much, but 1 more city from 5 to 6 is a lot because it means 1 more monument because of the Grand Bazaar monument.
Exactly.
And here we see an explorer that doesn't look like a very good option, but it's actually huge because in this way, it doesn't need another tag to upgrade this capital. You can simply make 3 connections with roads and get another giant on his capital.
Here we see a giant siege pushed off by a giant push. And the giant retreats because it's just under too much fire.
Yeah, here we see the other giant on capital. And yeah, blue goes for archery to advance his giant and make sure that they don't get too many hits, and yes, that's kind of what happens. And so here we can see purple going for free spirit. Like I think it was kind of a misplay on turn 13. It goes for a free spirit, but it actually doesn't do anything with it. It didn't even disband the troop.
But yeah, you can see that all these units are chained together. So if purple can get off like a big night chain here, it can really turn the game in his favor. Otherwise, his giant is at 4 HP here. He disbands it. Really smart play to save 5 stars or to get 5 stars back. And
so he can go
here, trying to hide it from his opponent.
And his opponent has vision on it, so he's
unfortunately his opponent does still have vision on it, so it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, or so his opponent thought. I mean, a beautiful thing that I really like is like throwing stuff at your opponent giant until you can breach it through with your knights. So like in this case, purple sacrifices the 5 troops to be able to pierce with the knight and make
it play.
This was beautifully done.
Yeah, because the giant give you this, like sense of safety because it's 40 HP and so tanky. But yeah, you have to be really careful with knights.
Yes.
Yeah, this giant here now is going to be an issue because it's breathing down on capital, and his capital is so isolated because his density was so bad. All these cities are so far. Like these 2 cities can support, but these 2 cities are going to take so long to reach. And this city is just as close as this city to his capital, so this giant is going to be causing a lot of issues.
And we can see another giant push from the same city to save the city for the second time. So a really well planned idea.
And the defender here actually works out very well for purple because there's no other units in range. So now this siege is completely shut down and buys him a little bit more time to set up get some units to come over and try to save his capital. And meanwhile, blue here just throws another giant and starts weakening this one. But he does leave another chain.
I mean, yes, but purple didn't train any knights for 2 turns, for 2 consecutive turns. So this means that he now he lost so much space in those 2 turns. And so
it looks like his capital is now being sieged by a giant. It's going to be really uncomfortable to unsiege. It's going to take a bunch of units. He can do it though, but just barely.
And he even needs climbing because the 10 HP warrior is son of controlling the rider.
Yeah, but ouch. It was a lot of units and techs.
Yeah, meanwhile, blue's in a very comfortable position here. Sieges with a 40 HP giant, and purple cannot unsiege, and he calls the game there.
Yes. I mean, I really love the play where he throwed all those troops at the opponent giant to kill with the knight. Couldn't remember exactly the turn, but I think it was turn 14. Yes. No, it was turn 15. Turn 15. Yeah, this turn. We sent a warrior, a rider, another rider, and one more rider to be able to pierce it through.
But yeah, the later you get into the game, the more you have to be aware that your giants aren't as safe as you might think they are, because so many units are on the board that it's possible that even a 40 HP giant can be cleared out in just 1 turn. So be very careful about your giants when there's knights on the board and when it's late game.
Yes.
But yeah, beautifully executed night chains, but unfortunately just not enough to stop the onslaught of giants.
Yes.
All right, let's dive into our next game here.
Oh wow, they have like the same spawn. Now kinda.
Yeah, really similar spawns with one player having, again, perfect density. Another player also having really great density, but just, this is one tile farther from him, and this is one tile farther from him than from like these 3 perfect density villages. But it's important to note that red here is pushed up a little bit compared to purple. So if red can like expand like straight down, they can get a lot of map control. Whereas purple might be a little bit cut off. But red doesn't know that. So the way they expand is still going to be mostly decided by resources, and we'll see how it plays out. I feel like on these tiny maps, just like 1 tile's worth of difference can be so big.
Yeah, I think that too.
But this is normal or small, right?
This is small.
Yeah.
So 14 times 14.
And now we see another classic Luxidor strategy: the turn 1 rider versus
I don't like
warrior.
it personally, but well, it's a strategy because the eco, it's very slow. The Luxidor eco.
It does slow down your eco, but kind of speeds up your expansion a little bit. Another city to explore. Gets them the lighthouse, but does not meet their opponent. But I mean, you kind of know where they are. You see their borders.
Yes, and even the fact that he got the lighthouse, it means that he can now upgrade the capital with 2 animals.
Really unfortunate explorer here, actually. If it revealed this warrior here, they could have trained 2 riders to actually contest this village, and maybe stepped off this village as well, and then hit, bounce back towards the village, and then these 2 riders siege. This would have taken this village and put them in a really comfortable position to attack the capital. It would have been 4 cities to 2, as opposed to 3 cities to 3. But unfortunately, the explorer did not go that direction and revealed other stuff instead.
Yeah, it bounced and went south.
Yeah. And it gives them the lighthouse, so that's good. So yeah, at least gets them a capital upgrade. And this upgrade as well. And instead they only train 1 rider.
He goes for the free upgrade too. I think that's an explorer city. Yes. Might go back. Yeah,
it's mountain range and bounces straight back. Yeah, sometimes you really gotta shape your explorers, guys.
Oh wow, that was a fast turn.
Yeah, you just spammed a bunch of riders.
If you can stop for a second, at the start of turn 6. Yeah, here, purple can siege the city and keep it, and someone might think that his opponent could have a warrior on his capital trained like 1 turn earlier on turn 4, or an archer this turn, but it actually couldn't have both if purple score counted. So if he looked at the opponent's score, he could have known that his opponent only has 1 troop in range. He should have score counted like in every instant of turn 5. Because he saw his opponent going up by 200 points, but his opponent never went up by 15 points. So 15 points, it's an archer, and so he should have known that his opponent never took an archer on this turn.
I mean, he did clear some fog, which might be a little confusing.
Yes, but he cleared only 20, like 4 fog and then 2 fogs. So, yeah, theoretically, he could have secured the siege, and with that city, it was a very easy win, but he doesn't know he can keep that city, so he simply jumped.
He chickened.
Yeah, but I do think that with the way he went for the siege, it was definitely the right idea to not stay on the city in order to preserve his unit advantage and trying to build up his army.
I mean,
I think if he had gone for that siege with a full HP rider, it would have been really worth it.
I mean, I think even with half HP, like a 5 HP rider, because the warrior is forced to kill it. And then if you have three riders in the back, you can siege again, and this time keep the city.
That's true, actually. Yeah, you're right. And he also denies him this ruin that they would not have been able to get for another, like, couple turns.
Yes. Andy decided to step off the city and go for Org. And I think another explorer.
Yeah, vision really important here, unfortunately.
What's going on with those explorers in this game?
Now we see a star ruin.
Into forestry and early upgrades. You can already see he has a giant with math on his capital.
I believe he also has a giant with border growth in his capital, and we see that the player with riders here can really choose when he wants to go for these trades, which is really big for purple. You see again, seeing some more upgrades and just spamming out as many archers as he can.
Yeah.
Picking off units whenever possible as well.
I mean, it's very important when you're playing against archers and warriors and you have riders to kill the warriors first, because archers without a defense, like without another unit tanking the hit, are kind of bad.
Yep.
So it's very important to clear the warrior as soon as possible, no matter how the trade might look like. Maybe the trade is worst, but it's going to pay off very soon.
Yep. Another explorer. This is the third explorer we've seen
from purple, and we can see that both players are going to secure 6 cities. So if they both go for roads, that's the Grand Bazaar Monument, and 3 population to put whatever you want. That it's really nice.
Oh, I see. Purple again getting more kills, getting some vision as well. And it seems like they're trading really well into red here, but these warriors are just relentless. The more he clears one and another takes its place. Oh, goes for pop growth instead of border growth here. Interesting decision. Border growth would have gotten them a lot more giants, as well as a faster giant, I think, because they don't have to go math.
And even some very good market spots, like a level 7.
It does not look like he's optimizing for markets at all with his setup, though, because he went archers rather than riders and so on. And we see purple actually getting their giant up before red, using Gate of Power and 2 roads to get that.
Well, he actually connected in the wrong order. He should have connected first the cities in the south and then the one in the west, because he could have upgraded that for free.
Yep. Now we see purple pulling back we see red pulling back a little bit, seeing that giant and wanting to ready their army to pelt it down and not lose their city.
And we see another important ruin. No, that's mining ruin. Well,
mining ruin, not bad. Not bad,
especially if your opponent as riders, you can go into smithery and start pushing his riders back with the swordsman.
Now we see purple starting to overextend a little bit almost. These units have nowhere to retreat to, so they're kind of just left out here to be picked off by archers and warriors. But we do see a veteran swordsman here being really annoying. Now we have a giant on siege.
Once again. And, well, purple can theoretically siege again by sacrificing 7 troops. But it's not worth it in this case, because his opponent can simply pump out another giant with double monument. Because we can see that the red player is saving up his monuments. Like, he didn't place a single one. He has both Killer and the other one, the Park of Fortune.
Yep. Now he's really going for these level 3 upgrades.
Yes, he wants
the archers are just relentless. It seems like purple is picking them off as much as he can, but despite that, there's still so many on the board. Now purple finally goes for forestry himself, gets some upgrades.
Yes. Maybe he was hoping on getting the West Lighthouse for an upgrade on capital with forestry when he took that explorer.
Yeah.
And no, we're not gonna see a border growth.
Yeah. But hey, at least this sets up this market spot, level 5.
I mean, he could have made it 6.
Could have made it. Could have made it 7.
7, yeah, you're right. And here it's simply an exchange of troops.
Yeah.
And we can see that purple is constantly sieging that front city to deny his opponent the income.
Farming, wow, interesting. Farming for more giants as well as to get a protective giant here. And now this is also, if they siege too recklessly, there might be some Houdini threats here. Smithery, wow.
Yeah, there is a smithery for another giant. And because you can train swordsmen. And
yeah, swordsmen are really powerful units to go into riders.
Yes. Especially if your opponent doesn't have anything else. Like
I would not have gone for this giant here because there's just too many archers to instantly siege. Luckily, they decide to go for this giant here instead. For now.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a misplay.
Yeah.
And we can see that in all these turns, purple is not been training any unit, or at least he's been training very little units.
Yeah, I think purple might be saving for something. And now we see our first catapult of the game threatening this city. And with these giants on the front line, these archers have been really able to build up and start being really threatening.
And yeah, here we see Chivalry
finally coming out.
And it's incredible because it's like one tile that his opponent can't see, and there is a knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was brilliant planning by purple here, trying to hide the knight as well as he can, and it pays off. Our opponent can't see this tile.
Yeah, he can't see the tile, and he might take a huge chain because knights against archers are very, very strong.
Yeah, we can see that every unit almost is together. Unfortunately, because this vet swordsman is really annoying in that he can't chain through it, so he's gonna have to pick which direction to go in. Here, he did not have to hit this warrior. I don't think he.
Yes, he didn't need that.
Yeah, he can't go for this catapult because this veteran swordsman is in the way, and he decides not to go for this instead to clear out these units as well.
His whole army.
Yeah, a big part of his army gone in one turn from one single knight.
Yes, and he now.
I'm not sure if he should have hit this giant though, because he really needs to be on defense here.
Yeah, probably push back your own giant to avoid, being it in retaliation. But maybe he wanted to clear as many troops of his opponent as possible. Giants, so that he can more easily pierce through with the knight.
Yep.
But well, if you see the position, his opponent has swordsmen, and swordsmen are great against knights. So
yep. Oh, and he gives up a double siege here, a siege in Calful.
Triple. There is a siege in the center too.
Oh, triple, yeah, triple siege here, and he's only making 13 stars per turn, or 13 stars this round because of these sieges. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah, he even needs to use the knights to unsiege, and that's not quite not cool at all because he can't chain anything if he is.
We actually see that our opponent here does not go for this siege in the city with the giant here, which is interesting because it would have forced a very expensive unsiege, but instead they threaten the center city.
I mean, probably they wanted to control the opponent. And yeah, here once again we see a giant getting melted and pierced through with a knight. But in this moment, like, purple used all of his troops, like every single one. At the end of
he no longer has enough to unsiege the city, and there's
yeah.
So knight chains are brilliant and they're beautiful and they can be game changing, but just as we saw here, they are not always enough.
Yeah, you have to adapt. So here the swordsmen were actually the winning play.
And although this chain back here was a really good chain, I think it was on turn 18, turn 19. This chain was really big. With the number of cities Red has, they just start pumping out like an archer in every city. Or they just start pumping out archers in every city, and you know, you can barely tell that the chain what to do because so many units are being reproduced every turn.
On turn 20, the turn of the night chain, could he have gone for the capital and sniped it?
Let's see. If he wanted to go for the capital snipe, he needed to turn here.
Yes.
So it looks like there is
a sword and an archer, so it needs to kill the archer. Oh no, there are two archers. No, there is no way for him to kill both of them.
Yeah. But if he had, let's see, this is making 6 stars per turn, and red has 28 stars, so they would have 22 stars. It would have been enough. Because they can't road this swordsman in. Oh no, but this catapult's right here.
No. There is the catapult.
Yeah.
No way that
there's a siege.
Yeah, I think it was the right play to go for the...
Wait, no. Okay, so if we killed this, hit this, promote. So there's this archer and this catapult. Oh no, we can't hit the catapult in any way. I was thinking we could maybe road this in. No, we can we? If all these units here are the giants, and we place one more road to smack this, I think that's enough, right?
There is the 20 HP sword.
Oh, the vet sword, you're right.
Yes.
The vet sword, yes.
And now that I am looking at it, there is another archer in the far east. Yeah, so no way for him to...
Very close, but unfortunately, they don't have enough.
Yeah.
And what about this kill of this giant? Was it necessary actually, because they sacrificed some of the units?
I honestly don't really think this was necessary. You could have probably just healed both giants to kind of delay their attack, because they're the ones on the offense right now, and you really want to be keeping your giants as healthy as possible. Like killing the guy is nice, but you kind of sacrifice your giants are out of commission for a while, and you lose a lot of your army. So you wanna be making positive trades as much as possible. Like this hit definitely was not worth it. It puts you at 20 HP instead of either retreating you would be at 31 still, or healing you'd be at 35. I probably would have considered retreating it if you thought there was any threat of like this catapult being pushed, because if the catapult is pushed, they would hit and siege instantly, which would be another like 10 units you need to clear the giant or a knight and some other riders.
Okay.
Yeah, classic game of archers versus riders.
I think that it explained like both the last two games, the second and the third game that we saw, like they tell that knights are very strong, but they are not the best unit, because if you lose too much space in taking them, they are not going to do all that much.
Yeah, but when they are many, so it was the example of this lakes game. They can break through, like together.
I mean, in that case specifically, knights were very strong because both player had enough space to train them safely, and like they had enough space to train and enough eco to hold. While in this position, we can see that purple didn't have enough eco to hold the line.
Yeah, to sustain.
He had enough space to train knights, but he couldn't hold. And if you can't hold, the knights are kind of useless because you can even swipe. I don't even know if that word exists. You can even kill all the opponent's troops, but if your opponent still have giants and you can't stop them, your opponent is going to recreate all its army and going to punish you.
Yeah, I feel like knights are normally get knights in like two different situations, right? Like either when there's like the desperate knight where you're really praying your opponent leaves a massive chain for you to like instantly turn the game around in one turn, or there's the offensive knight where it's like, okay, my opponent's on defense, but they have so many units I can't break through. I need a knight to just wrap things up. And with the desperate knight chain, you really need them to not see it and for things to like click in that one turn. Otherwise, it seems like you're still gonna lose just because you did. Even if you get like a chain, it might not be big enough. So, yeah.
Okay, so these were all the games we had for you today. Let me look at the poll. Yeah, so I had a look in the middle of our stream, and it was very much in favor of the Omax, but now it's 57-43, so not that big of a win, but still Omax are the favorite of our audience.
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Cloud and Yeti, for coming today and reviewing all the games. I think they were, a good example of like one was like really late game, because I don't think I've seen a game that lasted like 38 turns in my life. But I'm not a like I don't play that much. Yeah, but the games were really nice and exciting and interesting. So I hope you had fun too. And thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back next month for the Kiku Polyssseum. So hopefully we'll see you then.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Sure.
Yes.
Anytime. Okay, bye-bye. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Right.